Who you talking to?
Hey! We're recording the podcast! Shut up!
Good morning to you wherever you are, because it is
Morning Somewhere!
for June 1st, July, whatever. My name is Bernie Burns, sitting right over there. Don't blame her. She voted for a beer from Chili's. Ashley Burns, everybody.
The fifth beer from Chili's.
I blew my new. I had stage fright like you did with your thing. It's July 1st, everybody. June's in the rearview mirror. Thank God. Boy, June 2024 is going to go down
That was a
in
banger.
my personal history books as a whirlwind. Speaking of whirlwinds, by the way, first ever.
We're putting a podcast. Shut up!
No, I didn't know he was still on there. I must have exported that too long.
Look, we're always happy to see it.
He loves saying that part.
He was very excited. In fact, he came to me last night. He was very upset. He wanted to know what you did with his podcast.
He did?
He did.
Well, so we just had summer break. So his school, nursery school, ended Friday. So now we're in the incredible, what we would call summer vacation in the U.S., which is summer break here, which is only 6 weeks.
It's crazy to me. I mean, look, the breaks here are more scattered throughout this year. I feel like this is what I would have called, when I was in the U.S., year-round school. It's all in the marketing. It's what it sounds like when they say, let's move to year-round school, is that's it, you're losing summer vacation. What it probably means in actuality is your Christmas break is going to be longer. Your Easter break is going to be longer. You're going to get more breaks throughout the school year. But what it sounds like is we're taking away your summer vacation.
It does sound like that. And it's really strange. I mean, do you remember when you were a kid and you'd have that first day of summer, the last day of school, and you've got 3 months of nothing in front of you? Just like...
It was glorious.
Yeah. And it's going to sound like a strange thing to say. It was a great lesson in just the inevitability of time to me, because on that first day when you're like 12 years old, 3 months feels like forever, and then it's over before you know it.
Yeah. Do you know how many things you can do in 3 months? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. It's going to be incredible. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
This is the year I'm getting in shape. I'm going to learn Japanese. Going to do it.
And then you're bored by like day 3.
What plans did
And
you
you're like-
have, by the way? I had zero plans ever.
Oh,
I would
it
love
was
to know
like-
what your plans were.
You know, it was, I'm going to run away into the hills and survive, and it's going to be a whole bunch of fun. I was a weird kid.
Or you had the escape fantasy?
Well, I like to pretend that I could get lost. And I would be lost for, an hour or two until I got bored. And then I would, magically find the way out of the woods, which was like a stand of 10 trees at the end of the road or something.
And 0 people have been looking for you?
Oh,
You
yeah.
were
It's
disappointed.
always very disappointing.
Was the fantasy that people would come, like the community would rally and come get you?
No, it was always just like, like being lost in the woods and then something magical would happen. Who knows?
Oh, I see.
Who
I see.
knows?
Like you would discover a sword or whatever?
Yeah, a sword or like, a fairy ring, whatever it was. And that never happened.
Fairy
which was-
ring, solid. That's
Yeah,
awesome. That's a good
right?
summer right there.
Yeah, super disappointing. No fairy rings at all. But I did have a friend who had older brothers who discovered a vent of natural gas or something up in the hills, and could go and like light it on fire and then camp overnight and survived.
I can recall it so well, that feeling of like limitless possibility. And it was just amazing. Can you imagine if someone just handed you a 3-month vacation?
Oh
Just
my
like,
God.
all bills paid. Boom.
You know
3
what?
months. Here you go.
It would be the exact same thing. I'm going to do so many things and then I wouldn't get anything done.
The lottery is very enticing to a lot of people because it's like millions of dollars. I wonder if we just said, you're going to get a summer vacation. How many people would sign up for that lottery? Where it's like, just like when you were a kid, you can do whatever you want to for 3 months straight, whatever. We'll take care of all your bills. Obviously, $20 million is worth more. I feel like I'd sign up for that lottery before I would sign up for the $20 million lottery.
Well, the $20 million lottery, you're like, never going to happen. Summer vacation lottery, you remember this happening. You've had this before.
Yeah, you don't have the
It could
jackass.
happen again.
Yeah, in the background going, after taxes, it's only 2 months of vacation. You know that, right? Government takes a third of your summer vacation. But this reminds me of a YouTube channel that I have recently discovered. I like finding small YouTube channels and watching them kind of grow. And I realize I'm part of that. Like, they must have gotten some seed in some algorithm somewhere. And I'm not going out and searching this stuff up. I'm like part of the rise that the algorithm is driving. I recognize that. But there's this guy. I sent it to you. It's like, was it Buck at the drive-thru?
Yeah,
Buck?
it was. Let me look at this. This is drive-through Buck.
Drive-through Buck with 2 Ks, Bukk. And there's nothing really like morally redeeming about this particular channel. I have to admit too, I haven't watched all the different videos on here, so buyer beware. But it's a guy who's at a truck stop, or some filling station somewhere in America, and he's buying lottery tickets. He's buying. They're not quite scratch offs. They're more called. There's something called pop tops where he's just like popping them to see if he wins, and he buys like 20 at a time, and they're just like. It's almost like an ASMR thing.
Is this like some high tech scratch off? What is this?
No, you got to see
Pop
it.
tops.
You got to see it, and he does one after another. 20. He never wins. He never wins.
Maybe he just doesn't post the videos where he wins because that's not the point.
They're all super short, and it's like, I'm so glad I don't have to spend the money to watch him. Like, I'm invested in this guy. I want him to win. I want him to get a winner, and eventually he'll get there. But watching him go.
Well, Bernie, maybe you're supporting him with your views.
His rhythm and his routine, like he's like, you know how we do. I feel lucky, and he puts his $20 in, and then the cards come out, and they're like ding, 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 and then he starts popping them. It's an ASMR channel. It really is.
Look, Bernie, just one of those pop tops, he gets the right win, and bam, he could be buying Boeing subsidiaries.
I was gonna say it's a weird kind of ASMR where it's like you put yourself to sleep, and then you put your head on your pillow, and you're like, that was nice. By the way, our economy is fucking terrible.
All hope is lost.
So somebody decided, this company, I guess, decided to sell their company to Boeing for Boeing stock.
Well, so here's what's happening is Boeing
That's buying
has
low.
announced that they are purchasing Spirit Aerosystems, not to be confused with Spirit Airlines, for $4.7 billion in stock. So I guess that means that this Spirit Aerosystems is getting Boeing stock, which
Yes, they're being issued shares of Boeing stock in exchange for their company.
I mean, I guess they're placing a bet that stocks will go up as a result.
So really quickly, there's this thing called vesting. If you've never been involved with stocks before, it's basically just like a waiting period when you have X amount of stock, and then you can sell it after a certain amount of time. Sometimes there's no vesting at all. It's like, boom, it's basically as good as cash. Go out and sell it the next day in the market. But in the current state of Boeing, now with all the headlines being, we are actually, July is going to be the month of headlines that no one wants anyone to make.
Right, like we didn't want to see that this morning.
Right, like who's got to go down and write the headline at the Boeing PR department that says, no, the astronauts are not trapped in space.
Oh, I have a quote for you here. But this is specifically from NASA. NASA officials reiterated Friday the astronauts are not, quote, stranded in space. So there you go. They didn't even wait for July. They got this out Friday, just ahead of the deadline.
Just the end of June. So they're not, but they've ordered weeks of testing now on the Starliner, which is currently docked at the ISS, which is these two people's ride home.
This is what is it? Butch Williams and Sonny Wilmore?
And Ace. Ace is on the ground safe.
And
he was
Ace.
the alternate. It was Ace and a beer from Chili's were the alternates sitting on the ground that didn't take the Starliner up to the ISS.
Yeah, so they're doing a lot of testing just on the Starliner before it comes back. I don't know. They keep insisting that there's nothing wrong, really. They're just being super duper crazy, extra careful. And that they said there's no increased risk with bringing astronauts back to Earth on the capsule, but they're not. Here in this headline, we'll put this in the link up, but Stitch said the Starliner mission has a 210-day limit ultimately, and as of Friday, it's only been on mission for 24 days. So great news! They could be up there for another, 180, 190 days, give or take?
August is the month of where they're writing headlines like, good news, Starliner breaking records for time
in space.
I read we're subject to space stuff. I read a very clickbaity headline, which I'm going to read to you, but I'm going to tell you beforehand, it's clickbaity. Therefore, It's not clickbaiting on my part. SpaceX, this is from Sky News. SpaceX given permission to destroy the International Space Station.
They're going to shoot it down with space lasers.
I mean, that's the way it sounds, right? It's like they're going to aim all the Starlink satellites at it and activate the collective laser and shoot it out of the sky. No, they have been given the contract now, which is very sad to me, to essentially create the vehicle that will tow the ISS, tow it down low enough to where it'll fall safely into the ocean somewhere.
Right. Well, and we've known that something is going to have to happen with the ISS for a while, right? That it's going to be decommissioned, that it has to be taken out of orbit, and basically it's at end of life. It was not intended to be up this long in any case.
It was not. No, it was. It's beyond its record mission now at this point. But I think the sad thing that I've been reading from comments on it, which I agree with, is what's the road back to doing some major international space effort together? It just seems like we're all moving in different directions. In fact, NASA said as a part of this, they don't really have plans to build something like the ISS again, that in the future they will be lower orbit, commercially owned stations in space.
Yeah, this it looks like it says private companies, including SpaceX, Axiom, Blue Origin, and Vast, are developing commercial space stations that could launch as soon as next year. They support NASA's plan for future commercial destinations and allows for the continued use of space near Earth. So basically, space is going private.
You know what we need here? You know what we need?
What?
This would make everybody feel better about the ISS coming down. It'll be a sad day. I'll be sad.
I'll be sad as well.
Unless Taco Bell.
Go ahead.
Stick with me on this. Taco Bell puts a target out in the ocean. Do you remember this promotion they ran?
I do remember this promotion.
I can't remember what the vehicle. I think it was some Russian thing. Was it the Kiev space station?
I'm going to pull this up right now because that was a brilliant campaign.
Yeah, Taco Bell put a huge target out in the ocean. And by huge, it was like a couple meters square.
It was a 40-foot by 40-foot target.
Yeah.
Painted with Taco Bell's bullseye and bold purple lettering stating "Free Taco Here."
Sitting in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
Right. And this was for Mir.
Mir, that's what it was. I said Kiev. Something about that was bothering me. Mir space station. Thank you.
Yeah, and I want to say it was in 2000 or something. And you know what they were offering was one free taco.
To everybody.
To everyone in the United States.
To everyone in the United States.
If the core of the Mir space station hit the target in the South Pacific.
I remember this promotion. It cost them nothing. They had to one guy go out in the middle of the ocean, probably not even that far, probably went 2 miles offshore. Somewhere where they knew they weren't going to hit. Put this target out, and then it was everyone was talking about their free taco.
It was a huge thing.
Yeah, we need that. We need that back. Some silly, stupid promotion.
So if we can get the ISS to fall on the Taco Bell thing, for all we know, it's still out there, Bernie.
Yeah, it probably is.
Then everybody gets one free taco.
It probably started that garbage patch that's out there in the Pacific Ocean. That's another promotion we need. We need Garbage Patch Kids or something. The kids can buy dolls made from the recycled plastic from the Great Pacific Garbage Patch.
Well, that's getting a little dark.
Why is that?
Just, because it exists, and that would be actually a really great idea.
They can just recycle the stuff, and you get your little Garbage Patch Kid. It's probably got some forever chemicals. You can have your little... what did Cabbage Patch Kids come with? They came with a little birth certificate, right?
What were the ones that came with trading cards? Was that Garbage Patch Kids, or was that?
Right. There was actual Garbage Patch Kids.
Garbage Pail Kids.
What was that? No, that was there was that Garbage Pail Kids?
Or I think Cabbage Patch? I don't know.
No.
This was 80. Hold on, I'm looking this up.
So there was a couple of I loved them when I was a kid, parody collector's cards series that they did. One was the Garbage Pail Kids.
Garbage Pail Kids, that's what it is.
Yeah, it wasn't Garbage Patch Kids. This is a completely unique idea. Garbage Pail Kids, which were supposed to be a parody of Cabbage Patch Kids. Then there's actually a Bernie Burns in there. And sometimes people at convention will bring me the Bernie Burns.
Really?
Yeah. And we can link that in the link dump. The other one that I liked was one called Wacky Packages, which was a parody. You collect these cards, you buy them like baseball cards, basically. You get 5 at a time, and a horrible stick of gum that tasted like vulcanized rubber. And somehow
that's not the point.
I'm nostalgic for it for some reason. And it was hard too. You'd have to chew it. First it would crack into pieces, and then your saliva would slowly turn it into gum.
Gross.
Yeah.
So this is an entry from Wikipedia. Wacky Packages are a series of humorous trading cards featuring parodies of consumer products. The cards were produced by Topps beginning in 1967, first in die cut, then peel and stick sticker format. 16 series produced between 1973, that's your time, Bernie, and 1977.
Really, 77. So I would have been like 4 when I was collecting these things. And I was right at the end of the whole thing.
At the height of their popularity from 1973 to 1975, Wacky Packages were the best-selling Topps product, even more popular than Topps baseball cards.
No shit, really. Yeah, so I remember it's one of those things, you didn't have an older sibling, but I did. It was something my older brother did. And so I thought it was really cool because my brother and all of his friends collected these Wacky Packages. I can't even remember a single one of them. But they were just like parodies of like popular brands. And when that was, as a kid, you saw that, you're like, that's crazy subversive.
You're
right?
you're 4 years old going, wow, that's really subversive.
Yeah,
I dig it.
I dig it totally. Now I can spend my summer vacation researching brand theory.
I've got 3 months.
I'll tell you what I would do if I had a summer vacation right now.
What would you do? Take stock in Boeing?
No. I'm thinking a coup in Bolivia sounds like a lot of fun. Did you see the follow-up on this?
Yeah, what? Okay, you said
this sounds like a high school stunt, so it might as well be summer vacation.
You sent me something about the Bolivian coup as like an update. What is it?
So now the guy who rammed his car into the front of the Bolivian palace apparently had a discussion with a reporter that this was a setup to raise the popularity of the Bolivian president. And that reading this article, that Bolivia has been around since about 1825, the current government, current country. They've had 190 coup attempts in 200 years, essentially.
That's a lot of coups.
That's crazy amount of coups.
You know what they should have done?
What should they have done?
Is brought us some Scottish coups.
Every time I say coup, I think Scottish coup too.
They should have brought some Scottish coups and had a coup petting zoo. As far as boosting popularity, what's going to do better than bring 190 Scottish coups, let everybody pet them, and popularity through the roof?
Have you seen Scottish people Twitter or Scottish people banter?
I've seen there is a subreddit called Scottish People Twitter. Yes, where it's like tweets typed out with the Scottish accent.
I live in this country. I don't know if people do that ironically or if they're actually doing it, because we have a friend who types in Scottish. And they're not doing it ironically.
Right.
Like she writes, I'm coming to see yous.
Yous, yes.
Youse. And she writes coos. Like when she talks about our cows. She goes, coming to see the coos. COOS. By the way, when we're talking about Scottish coos, we're talking about Highland cows.
Yeah, we're talking about the Highland cows. The fuzzy cows. The ones that you, if you are a Patreon receiving a coin, you may be receiving an accidental cow.
Maybe
an accidental coup.
And if you live in Bolivia, our cows are ramming their cars in the front of your palace.
Those cows are so poorly behaved.
They're living up to their name.
So this guy's saying that it was all just a facade, like it was all just a prank, bro.
It's all just apparently the country has a long history of coup attempts, and this was something to bolster support for the president. That's the conspiracy theory now.
All right, where's Scott when you need him?
Where is Scott? We should send Scott to Bolivia, and he can report on the coup attempts. He can be a man on the ground. I love it. Hey, listen, I do want to have some positive news because it's all been just weird. Like we were talking about the headline stuff because of all this crazy news that's out in the world today. I have great news coming from the NOAA.
I'm very excited to hear their good news.
From overfished to sustainable harvests, Pacific bluefin tuna rebounds to new highs.
Well, that is good news.
Recovery of Pacific bluefin tuna has achieved a major milestone. The species exceeded international targets a decade ahead of schedule. The rebuilding of Pacific blue tuna reflects a fisheries management success. International organizations cooperated across the Pacific to reverse decades of overfishing for the prized species. I do think it's very good that through management, we have raised the tuna populations and well ahead of schedule. That gives me hope, Ashley. Gives me hope. And we need these wins.
Let's take the wins where we can. This is a dub. We got one on the wall. Speaking of dubs, I'd like to thank our sponsors for today. Dan Fitinition, that's our boy.
He's back again.
He's back again. And Rita Knox. Thank you both for sponsoring this episode of Morning Somewhere and putting another dub on the wall.
Thank you very much to both of you, Dan and Rita. All right, well, that does it for us today. The first day of July, July 1st, 2024. We will be back to talk to you tomorrow. We hope you will be here as well.
Bye, everybody.